until the CPI. 18 minutes until CPI. I'm just gonna look over my trade journal, my trade plan. Actually, I'm just gonna go over that. I like to definitely read the devotional and the declaration each morning when I get on the charts. Let me turn some lights on. A little more light in here. Just like that additional light. Additional lighting. All right, we should be live. Let me just make sure that it's two lives. All right, one second, one second. Let me just delete this one real quick. Come on. All right, cool. Housekeeping is done. All that stuff is done. That stuff is good. We should be good to go. We should be good to go. All right, 15 minutes until CPI. Let me get some good music that I like to work to. Da-da. All right, let's get it going. CPI, 16 minutes until that news folder. Uh, Jason, what's going on? Pull up my chart really quick. So, gave a little insight in our Discord channel yesterday what I wanted to see happen on USDJPY. Um, a pair that I'm going to be trading primarily. Um, I should not used to. I still do trade gold, but as the development of my trading goes and my knowledge in the financial markets, um, I find it really, really impactful. Diversifying in different ways and utilizing this market in different ways. Um, with the volatility of gold and the really, if we just pull up a gold chart real quick and just hide all of this stuff for a second and go back like to the weekly, right? We see this is an asset that even if we took from 2019, that if we've just been having in our portfolio, yeah, we may have dealt with some correction in this area, but if we had this in our portfolio since 2019, we can call it, even, we can definitely go further back, but this is one of those ones, gold, it being a non-yielding asset, it being a really safe space for investors, right? It's just one of those ones I want to be able to hold. Um, um, I love trading gold. I will always trade gold, and especially as my account size grows. But the longevity of gold and the like not even to mess with gold on like a trading level, but just to have as a physical asset is kind of where I'm not shifting to, but where I've put a lot of my focus, which has it's caused me to seek out why I don't trade other pairs. That's what it's caused me to do. And within that, I've learned a few things about the pair that I trade, which is XAUUSD. It's a metal. It's not really a pair. Um, the volatility with that, within that, the volume within that. I'm just really, really growing on price action on some of these other pairs. Um, so this is my USDJPY chart, and this on the same time frame is my USDJ is my gold chart. You know what I'm saying? So, um, because this is on a really, really wide time frame, and for there to be a lot of action. Now, there's a lot of money to be made within these moves, and that is kind of my point with gold, right? Like we can definitely find a good area to get in on gold and then utilize it just as the other major investors in the world do and other institutions do, and utilize it as a safe investment, right? Instead of um it's not encouraging nobody to trade. I'm not saying I'm personally not going to trade. I'm saying right now, as I'm developing, knowledge is increasing, risk management is improving. Like just all the factors that come into trading are improving. Within that, I have now made the decision. It will be smart to have a pair like USDJPY, a little less volatile, um, a little more consistent in its movement, because we know every movement in the market is different. So it doesn't matter how similar movements look, every movement's different. But even with that, really, really enjoy the way USDJPY is moving. I enjoy the global perspective of what Japanese yen is supposed to represent and its correlation to the dollar. And that's kind of the icing on the cake for me, the correlation to the dollar, being able to use USD JPY and then being able to look at the dollar's chart and, basically look for the same type of structure and movement. Look at that gold or the dollar, just look at the structure, USD JPY. All right. It's just super clean. But anyways, um, in the Discord, kind of went over my sentiment on what I want to see from USD JPY overnight in the morning, yada yada yada. Right. And just to kind of recap on that, 10 minutes until CPI, and I want about 5 minutes to go over my devotion and declaration of my trade plan. Um, but I see I have my 12-hour decision making level, a new time frame that I'm actually using. The reason for that is because it breaks down the daily a little bit, just a little bit more, right? Two 12-hour candles is obviously a daily candle, but I'm kind of speaking in terms of the volume really is the main reason why I wanted to go down a time frame, just to kind of get a little more insight on that volume. To go from daily to 8 hour, I don't get the insight that I'm looking for, right? Because if you look on the daily, right, we have this buyer's volume coming in. And then if you flip to the 8 hour, it's already showing that buyer's volume is going away. But if you go to the 12 hour, right, we kind of can get a little more insight on the most recent change in this volume, rather than we see we're getting fresh volume and then all of a sudden we see that volume is going completely away. I like this 12 hour. I like this 12 hour right now, so I want to see how this, and I want to see how this decision making level holds up. um you guys know how I find my decision making levels. If you don't, then it's just this three candle structure. It doesn't matter the variation of colors. It just has to be 2 to 1, basically two blacks to one, or two whites to one, whatever the case may be. That's what it has to be to give me that decision making level on any single time frame. Doesn't matter the time frame, right? But I wanted to see this 12-hour get respected, right? Which it has. Then I wanted to see, right, this level actually get respected, which it has, because I actually had a 5 minute decision making zone. Yep. So you see where this 12 minute is, or 12 hour, right? Watch this. So right on that 12-hour decision making level, right? Watch this. I had a 5 minute decision making level, right? So the fact that that is that piece together like that, it increased my bearish sentiment, that bearish narrative, because not only do we have basically a really, really strong area um, at this level, right? But we have a really, really strong area at this level as well, right? This level, this is all the same level, but these are decision making levels that were created on my 5 minute chart, right? And then we're seeing this is actually what I wanted to see get respected overnight. And it did. We literally moved right towards it. I probably sent that message out at about 12 last night. So somewhere around here. Ended up moving towards that level, wicking right off of it, moving right back down to this level, right? So doing exactly what I like to see price do, trade right in between levels. That's the only reason why I really mark up my chart is so that I can trade level to level. Um, and so we've gotten what I want, respect from on that respect from that buyer side. So sellers definitely are in control of this market on USDJPY. So as we approach news, I want to see how we react to this level right here. You know, we see that we broke below it before, staggered, consolidated, and then moved back above it, and now we've stayed above that level. But the break before is really key. The break before is really key. One thing that I do love about USDJPY as well is just the liquidity areas. The liquidity areas that it leaves um, is very, very clean. Just just from what I noticed in the last 3 days. Like I'm going to continue to give you guys my experience and my outlook on what has been going on with my trading journey and what it's like to trade another freaking pair. Um, and as heavily as I traded my other pair, and as well as analyzing the chart, analyzing the macroeconomics, right? Analyzing those factors the same way as we were doing on gold, but just transitioning it, right? And another thing that I like about this transition is USDJPY is more of a Forex pair, right? The reason I say that is gold, XAU USD. Now it's just priced in USD for us to look at. It's also priced in JPY. I just can't access it with my broker because, my broker probably doesn't allow that one. But there's an XAU JPY. There's an XAU. There's another one as well. But we do XAU USD, right? Because we want to see that gold priced in the dollar, right? Um, USDJPY, we're actually now um, buying and selling against the Japanese yen, right? Rather than buying and selling gold, we're now buying and selling against this currency. Um, and so we're kind of banking on the movement of our dollar to indicate that our USD JPY is going down or up, right? Versus gold just kind of being its own thing is kind of what I'm getting at. But within that is all the volatility within gold. There's so many different like liquidity sweeps that gold does because there is so much liquidity within even just a small movement like this, right? Um, and so like let me take just a quick break here because I just want to read my trade plan. Um, and so, I'll read it out loud just in case you guys haven't heard the trade plan and just some of the things incorporated in this trade plan. If you're in our Discord, and you go to our Discord channel, and then you can't see my screen right now, but if you just go to important links, which let me share my screen really quick. All right. So if you go to Discord and you guys are on Discord and you go to import links and then you go, there's three different links in here, but the one you're going to be looking for is this trade plan template. It's going to have you visit site, put in your email just so you can get access, but it's completely free if you're in the Discord. But it's just something to follow along with, and hold yourself accountable. Um, so I'm gonna read this real quick. We got 2 minutes to tell news. So the devotional is as we embark. I like to read in first person. As I embark on today's trading journey, remember to apply the wisdom gained from past experiences with humility and respect for the market's power. Embrace patience and maintain a good attitude while waiting for the best trading opportunities. Let discipline guide your actions, adhering to my trading plan and managing risks wisely. Amidst market turbulence, maintain my inner peace, regularly seeking clarity and peace of mind. At the time, at the end of each trading day, reflect on my actions, learn from the outcomes, and prepare for the next trading day with a renewed spirit. Trust in my unique path and the guidance that has brought me here as I navigate through the markets with confidence and determination. So nice, 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 nice. This trading journey is a long one. Um, just the same way we need to be affirmed with life sometimes. Sometimes we got to be affirmed with this journey we're on. All right. So I got about 40 seconds. Let me go ahead and get my trade locker ready because I'm not shy. I will trade CPI. I just really wanted that to rhyme, so that's why I said it. Was trading a point zero 0.05 lot on USDJPY. Gonna slide it to a point zero 0.03 on this as news approaches. Um, if we get bullish news, I'm going to enter buys. If we get bearish news, I'm going to enter sells. It's as simple as that. Um, Especially with my dollar chart, up here as well. I can get a little bit more boom. So bearish news on looks like. So let me actually. Did it put me in? Oh, it put me in twice. That's not good. All right, so it looks like bearish news though. See what this comes out as. A freaking trade locker just put me in two different entries at the same time. So let's see how this goes. All right, so did get bearish CPI. CPI in July wasn't terrible, but we're looking at CPI inflation year to year it was looking a little bit more down than expected. So just slightly though, just slightly. All right, so my trade locker just put me in two entries at once. And so now I'm in a really, really interesting situation. I entered sells, a sell on this move, right? USDJPY on this news folder. I did enter a sell. I like sales. I'm not really focused on this, what's going on. Like, yeah, I know we're getting this large wick, getting price moving against us right now. Yeah, it's news, it's volatility. I'm okay with this little manipulation right now, even as I'm in these two entries, which I should have only been in one. Um, but just as I'm using my analysis now. We got bearish news. That's what I was looking for, right? Bearish news should send the dollar downwards, right? But we're getting all this bullish volume. Why are we getting all this bullish volume? Well, let's find out why we're getting all this bullish volume. Okay. Yesterday, I did also mention in the Discord, I think it was this area in price. Let me see that again. Yeah, so it was that area in price right before the break. So this, let me see, Tuesday, Wednesday, this area in price actually. Yep. So this level right here, it's on a different time frame, but this level right here is what I wanted to see kind of get corrected from this bearish candle with just that imbalance. So exactly what I want to see. Where's my tools at? Where's my little toolbar? Oh, there it is. Hiding on me. Exactly what I want to see from this pair or from the dollar. Oops. Right to that daily area. Right to that next daily area. All right. So that's what I want to see the dollar do. Boom. And then just go test that other daily area. If we look on this last candle, was on the 8 hour, just the liquidity that was even left on the dollar at this daily level. So bearish news, liquidity below, decision making below, moving away from a daily area. So I'm not trying to get us to move bullish through a daily area. I'm getting us to move away from a daily area, and then to a next to the next level. Uh, so let's see how this ends up. My situation, right? I entered 1.03 lot trade. Um, and it's actually my mistake because when it's delayed on Trade Locker, I'm not patient and on my entry, and I just press it again. And so I hit it again, and then it entered another trade, but it entered them both at the same time. So I didn't see them enter differently. So I entered both at the same time. So I'm in two entries right now. Two entries right now. And really now it's a matter of, since this was partially an error with being in two entries, there was no error in me getting into this entry on news. There was no error with that. Um, but now I just have to go into account management and manage these positions without just closing them. Like, because I do have a bearish sentiment on USDJPY. So the current drawdown isn't a big deal to me. But how far will I let it go? There's a few different factors that I'm thinking about right now as I'm, you know, analyzing analyzing price right now. Let's check FinViz. It's one thing I haven't checked this morning. FinViz is always gives us a little bit more insight on you know market movement potentially. USDJPY, and so we don't have a USDJPY. Actually, yes, we do. What am I saying? So we got USDJPY right here in the green, in the green. So plus 4-1. So we'll remember that USDJPY sitting at plus 4-1. And then, so I want to identify this movement right here. So look at this. To me, this is just a liquidity sweep, and then we're gonna go bearish. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because before we got here, right? Okay. Before we got here, let me go backwards. Before we got that, what do we have? We had one, two, uh, we had basically one and two areas of liquidity. This area already got swept by this. And so this is not an area of liquidity anymore. Out of out of everything, I would say this is even like the highest quality of liquidity because this is we have it at three different levels right here: liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. None of these areas have taken out one another. So a simple wick above that, it just wipes out all those orders that were trying to catch this bearish move, right? But what happened on this move? What happened on this move is it went to go take out this level. It went to go knock out this level and then this level, right? Right on the next candle. Boom. Just take it out. Take it out. Don't not even close above that area. Just simply wick and take that level out. Similar to what it did here on on this stuff, right? Just wick below it and take those stop orders out, right? And so that's kind of what I'm seeing that happened here just by that wick and then the rejection, right? And so now what I'm identifying is price to respect this 5 minute level, price to respect this 5 minute level, price to fill some inefficiencies, a price action, and then volume, of course, for me it's for to step in on my 5 minute chart, 5 minute chart. So let's see. Let's take a look at the dollar. Take a look at the dollar. Yeah, that daily. I just want to see that as long as that daily gets respected, we're good. 15 minute. See if we can find a decision making level in here. And right there, you can use that area, right? So that area price right there, that price is kind of is respecting. Um, and that was the 15 minute. So let me just all right. We're pretty much just sitting on our hands, just waiting, seeing how price is gonna react after this. Let's check out gold. Let's check out gold. Like I said, I'm always gonna trade gold. Gold's still really respecting this weekly level, just this weekly trend, really respecting that weekly trend. Moved right up to its all-time high, right? So now it's right by its liquidity area because since it's been to this all-time high, it hasn't visited it. In my opinion, gold is not going to leave this liquidity behind this week. So gold's gonna, from my sentiment, gold is gonna go bullish, take out all-time highs this week, right? That's what I think. Just because we're already too close to it, and for price to come all the way back up here and then move all the way back down without sweeping this, just wicking above it. I can't see that happening. It could potentially happen, but I can't see that happening based on um, the consistencies of price movement on gold. But gold right in a decision making level, as you see, with my 8 hour. Um, this is my weekly here. This is a 4 hour zone, so we can get rid of this 1 hour below it. But you see that 4 hour zone, it's respected and utilized. So that's clean there. So ideally, after the sweep of this all-time high, price ends up coming back down, retesting this 4 hour and potentially this weekly trend, but then moving back up because we know that gold on a wide time frame just got a fresh green dot, fresh volume on the weekly. And if we just take this green dot and this fresh volume, right? This is why I use my MACD as well on higher time frames because it's really credible. We just had to be patient with its movement. Um, but if we just take this green dot from this part of price, like that's when it made its movement, right? And so green dot above midline, green dot above midline, we can take every time that there was a green dot above the midline, right? We were able to use that as a time when price decided to move bullish. So kind of how I'm interpreting that now on this higher time frame. Um, so yeah, coffee here in a sec. One thing I'm noticing about gold. So we want gold to move inversely from USDJPY. So if we're seeing USDJPY go down and we want it to go down, gold should be going up, right? Gold should be going up. Um, and that has been the case with structure so far this morning. Um, bullish structure definitely in um, currently present. Let's just get rid of this cloud really quick. You see it's respecting this level that it just broke. Still staying above that level, but respecting it. Take a look at the 1 minute. Okay. So fighting for that cloud on the 1 minute. Fighting, fighting for volume as well on the 1 minute. But I like 5 minute. I like the way our 5 minute volume is talking to us, um, showing me that sellers are losing that volume from that news candle, and buyers are stepping in potentially here. All right. Now, if we can get USDJPY to just fill these inefficiencies of price action, I like USDJPY moving down here today. Coming and take out these liquidity areas about 146 flat. Um, it's actually where I like to see this go. I'm gonna set my take profit. As I manage my my double positions here. Shout out Trade Locker for that. Um, 146. All right, take profit is set. So now let's see how we get reaction to these levels. Ultimately, really just want to see the dollar respect this level, and I want to see USDJPY respect this level. I'm gonna go. What time is it? 5:46. So look at USDJPY was +4.8, was +4.8, now around +3.3. So it is down in terms of our momentum potentially slowing down. If I get another yawn, I'm gonna have to go get a coffee. Let me switch these tunes. Where is my tunes at? Where is my tunes at? All right. So I want to pull up this Discord and just go over some things in this macroeconomic channel. Um, and a few things that I like what I'm seeing. If we just look at CPI as what we're focused on. So one thing about this macroeconomic channel, right, that is going to be really good for our community is once these forums are up here, they're in stone. So then we can go in once these folders come back around and have dialogue and conversations about the news, about the data, about previous information that was spoken about what this news folder means. Um, but because this PPI and CPI is something that is going to come month to month and year to year, it's a folder that's not going away. So I really, really like these forums for that reason. But we want to focus on CPI right now. And we want to look at, let's see, inflation indicator. CPI is a primary gauge of inflation, indicating how much prices are rising and falling. It helps policymakers, businesses, and consumers understand the economic environment. And full disclosure on this type of stuff, right? I used Perplexity, which is an AI, a type of AI, to generate my information, right? But now, how I formulated these prompts, it wasn't a simple "what is PPI." I just want like I'm making sure that we're getting the most accurate stuff that we need to figure out why it matters, and how we use it, right? But let me actually put an alarm on price really quick so that I can gauge USDJPY's movement. All right. Let's see. CPI is based on a represented basket of goods and services. That's not what I was looking for. I'm looking for traders may focus more stable. All right. Traders may focus on core CPI for more stable analysis, while regular CPI can offer insights into broader inflationary pressures. All right. So let's bring up CPI. Yeah, even core CPI and just normal CPI uh, both regressed in its data. So if we're just looking at how core CPI and regular CPI differ, they both showed um, negativity in their data with bearish data. So when we look at core CPI for a more stable analysis, we can look at that core CPI and have a bearish outlook because the core CPI, the data within that, um, provides just more stability for what is going on with the economy. But if you see regular CPI, it says it offers insights into broader inflationary pressures. And in this case, the increase in inflationary pressures. Um, yeah, and as I'm sitting here thinking, right, think I made think I made a mistake here because so this is my FX book. Previously, I was using Forex Factory, and we can obviously see the cleanliness of Forex Factory versus the other one. But let me see something here. So this would actually indicate, wouldn't we want consumer prices amount overall inflation is among uh, Okay, so this is an article on CPI right here from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Um, very credible source right here, but it says the consumer price index for all urban customers or consumers increased 0.2% on a seasonally adjusted basis after declining 0.1% in June. Um, so grew 0.2% in terms of the consumer price index after declining 0.1%. Over the last 12 months, all the items index increased 2.9%. So just that basket of goods and services increased 2.9%. The index shelter rose 0.4%, accounting for nearly 90% of the monthly increase. The energy index was unchanged after declining in the previous 2 months. The index of food increased 0.2% in July as it did in June. The food away from home index rose 0.2% over the month. And the food at home, okay. So the only thing that really didn't change right there was the energy. The index for all items less food and energy rose 0.2% after rising 0.1%. Index, which increased in July, includes shelter, motor vehicle, insurance, household furnishing operations, education, recreation, and personal care. The index for used cars and trucks, medical care, airline fares, and apparel were among those that decreased over month. Okay. There are items. The all items index rose 2.9% for the 12 months ending July, the smallest 12-month increase since March 2021. Interesting. The all items food index rose 3.2% over the last 12 months, which was the smallest 12-month increase in the last index since 2021. Interesting. The energy index increased 1.1% for the 12 months ending July. The food index increased. Okay. And so kind of how I'm interpreting this, just seeing the increase on a small scale. We've saw the increase, but just looking kind of at the year to year folders. So where did it say the index preceding month, which includes, so the all items index rose 2.9% for the 12 months ending July, which was the smallest increase since 2021 of June. So on an overall outlook, this would actually, if I'm interpreting this correctly, which I believe I am, because the index we want it to go down, um, because that if the price of food is up 0.1% versus 0.2%, that would be beneficial for our economy, and for consumers mainly. Um, and so how I'm interpreting this is we year over year, we would want to see it decrease, which we have. But when we're executing now, I'm not really concerned on that wide of a time frame. Um, because if we go to our Discord and we look up volatility, right? CPI releases can lead to immediate and substantial impacts on currency prices. If the data significantly diverges from expectations, it can result in rapid price movements as traders adjust to new information. Um, so then we can, identify, was it really far off than its projection? Not really. Not really. Is zero point 0.1 less than its projected result. Um, and then this folder here, it was 0.23 less than its projected result. I'm not sure exactly what these numbers are entailing, but we can definitely find out. Let's see here. I don't know what the actual. Okay, so it's in points, I guess. Um, Once again, I have no idea what that means, but I don't really think it's important to know what these numbers represent more than to just know the change in them and how important that is. Um, so and change isn't heavy there from basically what I'm saying here, and then all the other um, folders as well. You know, didn't show much of a change. And so now let me go back to this. If we look at index shelter rose 0.4% in July, accounting for nearly 90% of the monthly increase. Okay. The index energy was unchanged over the month. Okay. After declining in the previous 2 months. So the energy index has declined over the last few months. Um, and then the index for food increased. The food away from home index increased, and the food at home index increased. Right. So in the short term, things increased. In the long term, in the long term, using its own long term data as a reference point, it has gone down. So it's benefited the economy from what I'm interpreting. Like I'm saying, I'm growing in my knowledge and my understanding and my interpretation and my observations. It's all a growing process. So I'm not getting on here thinking I know everything about these macroeconomics, CPI, and you know, pulling up the right website and it's all that, man. I'm simply on here as a trader, identifying this stuff, not for the first time, but really just trying to um, drive these concepts home and use this additional insight we have because it's like a cheat code. Like that's truly how I view economic indicators. Um, is like a cheat code. It's truly like a cheat code. Um, all these other folders, I'm not paying any attention to. On August 4th, these are, what is this? August. Okay, so this is from August 9th. So look at all these folders. This is kind of the reason I actually like my FX book a little more than Forex Factory, just because Forex Factory is a little bit limited. Maybe it has its own reason for being limited. I like using my FX book. My FX book is also used by, if you look on the right side here, we support 10,000 banks, brokerages. Um, so these banks you see and these brokerages you see, Fidelity, EX Trade, Robinhood, Interactive Brokers, Ali Invest, Chase, Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade. These brokers and banks use my FX book. They use my FX book. Think about that. Now, what level? I don't know. I'm assuming that these are when they're, letting us know about these um, other brokers and banks that they're using. I'm assuming that it's all retail traders. But it's just the accessibility that I'm kind of noticing from prime companies that are using my FX book. And I don't see that on Forex Factory. So maybe Forex Factory needs to step their game up. But yeah, I like I will go ahead and I like the credibility of my FX book. Now, Forex Factory has some good articles that I like to read. So if we just click on the news, like there are articles that we can look at. Um, and the first article I see up here is regarding the Japanese Prime Minister, which that will be important for us to look at. So let's take a look at this one. Pulling a Joe Biden. Reactions to Japanese Prime Minister's Fumio Kishida's resignation. Interesting. I love you. Interesting. The Prime Minister, let's see. So, key points from this article: the Prime Minister is a true friend of the United States and Japan and has become a true global partner of America. U.S. Ambassador to Japan Rahm Emanuel said on social media platform X. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese similarly paid tribute to Fumio Kishida. One expert said the move was reminiscent of U.S. Joe Biden. Damn, what the hell? All right. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is stepping down in September, a move that sparked a broad range of reactions from government officials and analysts. By choosing to not run for re-election as a leader of Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party, Kishida has effectively left the door open for a new prime minister to take the helm of the world's fourth largest economy. One expert said the move was reminiscent of U.S. President Joe Biden's dropping out of the presidential race less than a month ago. To me, this is Kishida's pulling a Joe Biden and realizing wisely he's just not the best face for his party come election time. The leader of largest opposition, the Constitutional Democratic Party of Japan, noted those issues have not yet been resolved and pledged his party would continue to pursue action to do so. Still, Zimi thanked Kishida for his hard work, adding Prime Minister Kishida, you must have been under a lot of pressure. So you know what I'm going to take with this information? Let me read this first really quick. Japan's central bank recently raised its benchmark interest rate to around 0.25% from its previous range 0.0 to 0.1%. Okay, this is important to understand how the fluctuation of the interest rates impact what we're doing, right? This is important to understand how the fluctuation of our interest rates impact what we're doing. So let me pull up my notes because I don't want to misquote anything. But if I'm not mistaken, the increase of interest rates in decreases our money supply. If I'm not mistaken, I might have that backwards. But don't worry, this is why we have notes. All right, so lowering interest rates. Yeah. Yeah. So lowering interest rates increases money supply, right? Which decreases the value of a currency, right? But the increase of interest rates decreases money supply, increasing the value of a currency. Okay. So this article said Japan recently went from 0.25 after being at 0.0 to 0.1. So they increased. So they are trying to decrease their money supply, right? Which means they're trying to bring back value to their currency, right? And improve the value of their currency, right? And that happened, let's see, that happened, when did they do that? I want to say that was like a week ago. July 31st was when this article was updated. So just about a month ago, roughly. Marking the bank's Japan's highest rate since 2008 was this increase. That triggered a sharp strengthening in the yen, right? An aggressive unwinding of the yen-funded carry trade, which played a role in the recent dramatic sell-off in global markets. And so this right here, that triggered a sharp strengthening in the yen and aggressive unwinding of the yen-funded carry trade, which played a role in the recent dramatic sell-off in global markets. Carry trade just means, let's say you have $100,000 in the Japanese, and let's say you have $100,000 in Apple, right? Apple, you have $100,000 in Apple, and then let's use a currency. Let's say you have $100,000 in gold, right? No, because gold moves with the Japanese yen. All right. Let's say you have $100,000 in Great Britain pound, right? Um, Once these interest rates moved over, we would have saw money move back into this market. So people would have basically carried their trades from one market to another because of the interest rate increase, and that would appreciate their currency because of what it's going to do to the overall currency. But them just holding it within their portfolio is why it's going to increase their their personal portfolio. So instead of, letting it sit in one currency, they move it to another one that they have insight on the interest rates, because the interest rates improve the value of the not only the currency, but it's mainly those government loans, bonds, and securities. It's stuff like that. That is what the interest rates impact. Now, it just fluctuates the price of our currencies, right? But as far as what investors can purchase that it impacts, aside from the actual currency, is those government securities like bonds, treasury bills, or T bills, sometimes as they're called, which I just interpret them as being um, government debts. That they understand that there's their government debt. Somebody pays a certain amount of price, and the government's like, yeah, we'll back that with this percent over this term. That's pretty much how I interpret that to be. Um, but just thinking about this, those interest rate increases, and that definitely should appreciate the yen. Um, I'll be cautious in continuing the bearish sentiment from gold, from USDJPY. However, what I was gonna do now is I'm gonna pull up my favorite perplexity. This is literally like if I was gonna use Google, and I was gonna type in Google, you know, how does the recent move from Kishido election affect the yen and DXY? Instead of me doing this, I much rather do this. Give me everything I need to know. All right. I like what I'm seeing as I'm looking at the USDJPY chart, still getting that 5 minute respect from that 5 minute level. I like what I see on my volume, losing that buyer's volume slowly but surely. Not showing itself yet on price, but we are losing that buyer's volume. Let's take a look at gold. On the other side, I would like to see gold go bullish. Gold going bullish would push USD JPY bearish because they move inversely. So I would like to see that. Let's check out the dollar. Oh yes. Okay. I love what I see from the dollar. Disrespect at that 15-minute level. I think we'll end up getting a good bearish, push from USD JPY shortly. So let's just be patient. That turn off my alarm. Uh, my dad. Try that again. All right. And so what I looked up here was give me everything I need to know about the recent move from Kishido out of the dropping out of the election affects. I didn't even spell right, but I should say how it affects the yen and DXY. As a trader in the financial markets, how will this impact the current state of the yen and its relationship with allied countries like the U.S.? And then I type it in, and then if you hit this like little rewrite thing, it then it does a little pro search and gives it a little more in-depth explanation. So did it do that for me already? I didn't see it. Am I spelling his name right? Oh, Kushida. Okay, it recognizes it anyway, even though I spelled it wrong. But then I love this too because it gives us sites, it gives us articles to go read it if we don't just trust the prompt, right? But the recent announcement of Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida that he would not run in the upcoming party leadership vote has significant implications for the Japanese yen and the U.S. dollar, which measures the value of the U.S. dollar against a basket of foreign currencies, including the yen. Um, impact on the yen, political uncertainty. Kishida's decision to step down introduces political uncertainty in Japan. Okay, now would political uncertainty approve or devalue a currency? And in my opinion, political uncertainty would devalue a currency because that country does not know where the heck their direction is, right? And that wouldn't sit well with consumers. What are we with? Yeah, no, I hear you, Jason. My FX book, not only with the news does it have, but like the sentiment, this there's like a correlation button. I really, really have I'm all in on my FX book. I've definitely moved Forex Factory um out of my list of bookmarks. So it's been degraded. Um, as we continue, though, let's see. This uncertainty can lead to increased volatility in the yen. Okay. As markets typically react negative to unclear political futures. Okay. Investors may become cautious, leading to potential fluctuations in the yen's value. Interesting. So just off that first bullet point alone, we can start to formulate what we think this information means. But then I take that and I take it to the chart. I take it to the chart. I look at higher time frames and I look at the overall outlook, right? And to be honest with you, on this weekly level getting respected on a wide scale, a big time frame, I'm bullish on USDJPY. I'm bullish on it, right? Just because this weekly area, clean respect from it, right? Clean respect from that weekly area. Um, but a lot of price action has to happen here to continue bullish. Like this is a lot of movement. Um, so that's gonna take time. That's gonna take a little bit of time. As we're getting potential bullish movement here, cloud fighting to become bullish as well. Volume still not there for us on the buyer side, though. Still not there for us on the buyer side. And then on the other side of that, what's gold doing? Gold is potentially going downwards, potentially going downwards. But political uncertainty, potential fluctuations in the yen's value, investors becoming cautious, all things that are negatively impacting the yen. Um, which would in turn positively impact our USDJPY chart if we don't know the correlation. So when the Japanese yen is doing bad, this currency will go up. This USDJPY chart will go up. When the Japanese yen is doing good, let me make sure I'm saying that correctly. Because when gold's doing bad, when gold's going downwards, the Japanese yen is also going downwards, which means, yep, that this is going up. Um, so yeah, when the Japanese yen is doing poorly, this currency, USDJPY, this pair is going to go up. All right. When the Japanese yen is doing poorly, USDJPY as a pair will go up. When Japanese yen is doing better and doing good, this USDJPY pair will move bearish. Will move bearish. All right. Number two, economic challenges. Kishida's tenure was marked by efforts to combat the yen's depreciation, which had contributed to rising inflation and economic challenges in Japan. The yen's weakness had been a significant issue as it increased the cost of imports, particularly, particularly food and fuel, thereby affecting consumer confidence and economic recovery. Mm. Interest rates and monetary policy. The banks of Japan, recent moves to adjust interest rates have contributed to some strengthening of the yen. However, the yen's future will largely depend on the policies Kishida's successor and how they address Japan's monetary challenges. Interesting. Okay. Impact on the dollar. The yen is a component of the DXY, and any significant movement in the yen can influence the index. If the yen strengthens due to political or economic challenges in Japan, it could lead to a decrease in the DXY, assuming other currencies remain stable. Um, so this is kind of what I was just talking about. Increase in the yen decreases the dollar, which would decrease our USD JPY chart. Number two, U.S. economic data and Federal Reserve policy. The DXY is also affected by U.S. economic data and Federal Reserve policies. If the yen strengthens while the U.S. dollar remains strong due to favorable economic conditions or interest rate hikes, the impact of the DXY might be mitigated. Okay. So that data won't impact as much if it aligns accordingly. Okay. So what I wanted to look at is when there is more outlook on the Japanese yen, not so much like this, but I want to see if there's any like speech coming up or anything like that. Hmm. Okay. So this is good. This is good. This is good. I'm gonna filter this to just viewing JPY really quick. So because there's actually a lot of folders. Um, actually, no, I'm not. So if we go down, 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 this is the 15th, 16th, 17th. So we have some orange folders from JPY, which I'm not focused on those ones. Just not yet, just because I'm not there yet. I'm looking for stuff that I can recognize. One thing I do notice is this August 19th, MyFX Buck USD JPY sentiment. I want to know what that I need to sign up for this. I want to know what that entails and why it's so like why it's a medium impact folder. I know what it means because it's this sentiment right here that will get will get updated, it seems like, but I don't know what it's regarding. Like, why would it be an economic on the economic calendar? So that's something to kind of be on the lookout for. Um, then the next one is really what I was looking at is here, August 20th, right? Imports, exports, balance of trade, right? What did it say here just a second ago? It said, it said economic challenges. Kishida's tenure was marked by efforts to combat the yen's depreciation, which had contributed to rising inflation and economic challenges in Japan. The yen's weakness had been a significant issue as it increased the cost of imports, right? And so imports, even though it's a low folder, not like I'm looking at this folder importantly because is something that they were battling prior to even Kishida removing himself from office, from the election, from the race, right? Exports, medium impact folder, something we'll look at as well that we'll need to look at. But then balance of trade. And so this is literally trade balance, what USD normally has on their economic calendar as well. And so what we're identifying here is the decrease in imports. And there's something called, I forget, there's a what is the word called? I'll find it. Three trade balance components. There's something called, I forget the name. Uh, it's called, it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh no, wait, you know where I have it? Let me look at this really quick. All right, we're good. You know where I have this? I have this in here actually. 10-year bond auction. I'm pretty sure it's in here somewhere. It's not. It's not. Where there's three. There's imports, exports, and there's one more. Trade deficit. I think that's what I'm looking for. Trade deficit. I think that's what I'm trying to uncover. That didn't sound like the word I was looking for though. Okay, yeah, it's the trade deficit. The trade deficit, so a little brief definition: a trade deficit occurs when a country's import exceeds its exports. A trade deficit is also referred to as a negative balance of trade. And so if what I'll look and see and do a little more deep dive on, I'm not gonna do it right this second, but to see if that is if the trade deficit is the same for exports exceeding imports, or if it's looked at differently. But what this one's saying is when a country's imports exceeds its exports, that's when we have a trade deficit. And now a question that we can ask is how does a trade deficit impact a currency? Because if in this case, if we're seeing that the yen basically struggled to increase its imports because of the cost, that means when this folder comes out, balance of trade, that means there should be a large trade deficit between imports and exports. And so I want to know how that would impact the currency, which I can, make the assumption that it would negatively impact the Japanese yen if the trade deficit between imports and exports were substantial, because if they're not importing anything, that means they're not buying much. If they're not buying much, that means they're not selling much, right? So that's kind of how I'm interpreting that. Still in my trades, plural. Thank you, Trade Locker again, for that. But you know, the the peace of mind that I have when I trade is kind of kind of worrisome. Not actually, but it's like I have been able to become so removed from the money. It it brings me such peace, to be honest. Um, in my current situation, like finances are not where I want them to be. You know what I'm saying? Like as some of us are. Like I got things I need to pay. I got things that need to be paid right now. You know what I'm saying? And but the opportunity that I have in front of me when it comes to trading, it provides so much peace and comfort in just long game and just the VXT formula, volume times time, which you guys will hear time and time again, no pun intended. Um, and so I almost find it comical in a way because I don't see anything ever deterring me away from trading. Like no amount of dollars that I could lose or anything like that. And that's easy to say because, what if you lost $100,000, Marcus? I mean, all right. That means I had that much to trade with. And I just think about the other things that go into me having that much to trade with. But um just being in these two positions right now and then just setting an alarm on my chart and then not hovering over this. I like that I've gotten there as a trader because even though I did not mean to enter two trades, I meant to enter one. I'm currently in a $10 drawdown and a $15 drawdown. Um, and I only have a $60 account. You know what I'm saying? So it and the old me, I probably would just close this out because it was an accident. I'm like, what the heck? I'll just sacrifice. I'll just take the L. I want to keep the money I have in there and whatnot. But then it's just like I have my sentiment. Um, like let me just let price work. Let me just let price work. Did I engage too quick? Seems like it, just because of that initial a news break. Which that's the risk I'm willing to play and willing to take on news. Like to be honest, that's the risk I'm willing to take. Because if this could have gone in a completely other direction and I could have a different view towards Trade Locker and I could say thank you, Trade Locker, for entering two positions when I only meant to enter one because now I'm in great profit. But you know what I'm saying? And then I'm just literally like a sailboat in the freaking water and the wind and I'm just wavering. I'm just going with the wind. And as the wind flows, I flow. And I don't want that. I want to make the wind flow, right? I don't want the wind to make me flow. So, um, yeah. So I just want to just always want to preach the VXT formula: volume times time, volume times time, volume times time. You only lose the money you put into trading if you quit. Simply put, I've probably put somewhere around, I'd probably say somewhere around 5K into trading in my entire journey. Um, Live accounts, funded accounts, that may be a little high. Maybe about 3K, about 3K for sure between live accounts and funded accounts. And, the moment I hit $3,005, I'm back in profit. So you know what I'm saying? It's so easy to look at the money. That it's so easy to do that and say, "Oh, I'm not a profitable trader right now. Oh, now I am a profitable trader." But that's just not like super um like that's just too tangible. It's just too tangible for me. It's too tangible for for the sustainability of it, right? I'm just not attached to the money. I'm just not attached to the money. I'm attached to the thought process, the decision making, the analysis. Um, I'm attached to the macroeconomics and understanding the economy. Um, that's the type of stuff that I'm attached to. The money is literally going to come. I have zero doubt about it at this point in my life. And I can say that with 100% certainty. And do you know how that feels? Like that peace of mind, literally amazing. Feels a freaking amazing to have that peace of mind and to say, I have something in my life that I just need to spend time on doing over a long period of time. And financially, it's going to change everything. you know I said something the other day on one of my social medias. If you don't have me on socials, go ahead and give me a follow. EHM Trades on all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Trading Marcus on Facebook. Shout out Jason. Jason always showing love. I really appreciate that, Jason. Um, but but man, I posted the other day. I said, "Freak." It's just right on the tip of my tongue. I said, let me pull it up because I had it written down as we're just watching Price do its thing for a sec. I know what I said. Yes, he said that what I was getting at was about the vision and about having vision, and what having a vision means, and how a vision is we're going to remain in the distance until we actually work the present, right? And so we paint a vision in our head about something, but we will not ever see that vision come to fruition until we work the reality. Um, and the thing about the vision and working it, right, is it never is something that happens overnight, right? It's always something that over a long period of time, it just builds up its momentum. Just it's almost like price when it's accumulating in a certain area. It's just building up its momentum to just take off and blast off. All right. And so um we kind of have to look at trading in the same aspect. At least I like to. I'm not going to tell you what you have to do, but I like to look at trading in the same light. It's just like, you know, I have profitable weeks. I have losing weeks. I have profitable days. I have losing days. But there's gonna be a consecutive, a couple weeks. You know, I would say it's probably gonna be at least 2 to 4 weeks where at that point it's gonna like click, and then like we're not gonna ever look back. We're not gonna ever look back. I still struggle right now as a trader. I do still struggle. I struggle with following my trade plan um to a T every entry every time, which is why I'm really appreciative that we have a physical copy that I can have a more conviction over rather than just my trade plan in my head. Um, I struggle with my risk management and just forfeiting when my analysis is invalidated, um, instead of finding another analysis to become valid in that moment. Uh, so I'm growing. Like I've been trading for a handful of years now. And so for me, like when I sit and I think about it, I'm a week away. I'm a week away from that 1 week where I'm just like where that other light bulb clicks, right? Because I've had a few go off along my trading journey, but I'm 1 week away from that LED light bulb just going off in my brain. Um, and that just comes down to just consistently executing. That's all it is for me. Consistently executing, being patient, being disciplined, and just sticking to my trade plan. Once I can do that for a consistent month, one consistent month, and then everything else surrounding my life, I'm consistent with as well. Like I said, it won't feel like it happens overnight. Like it won't, trust me, it won't feel like that because you will know. And speaking from when it happens for me, is I know the late nights, the early mornings, the just everything in between. So the volume times time, you can translate that into anything you do, and you can understand that it will improve whatever you are doing, whatever you could have been the most novice human being to whatever you step into. But after you conclude that, um, you may be able to consider yourself an expert if you just apply the simple formula of V to the X to the T, volume times time. I'm going to go grab a coffee really quick, and I will be right back as USDJPY is moving into this inefficiency of price action. And just to remind us on this inefficiency, right? It started at this level. So excuse me, the inefficiency starts when this candle closes. So it started at this level. Look at our volume when this imbalance was created, and then just look at our volume gradually go away, and then price gradually show itself as well. Um, and so brings me back to this liquidity sweep. So I'll look to identify that as well, like after this move to see, oh, yeah, price did just come sweep that area. And now what I want to see this area and this area get swept. That's what I want to see. I'll be right back. Price feel that. Seen price feel that inefficiency there. Clean inefficiency feel. Um, and so just thinking about price liking to do a few things, right? Price likes to do a few things. Price likes to hunt liquidity, which it did this morning, right? So this wick that I keep highlighting was a liquidity sweep, right? So it likes to hunt liquidity. Liquidity, anytime you see a wick, identify where that wick is and at which part of the trend. So what I mean by that is, let's see, like, like these in here, these wicks in here, these wicks. Yeah, we can call those liquidity. That definitely is, because that's a point in price where it got, and like there were orders at that point in price, but then it like buyers either moved it away from those orders, sellers moved it away from those orders and moved against those positions or what. But I'm really referring to the high quality liquidity points, and where those are found are generally at the major movements. So you can start them, um, if my screen wants to load, but you can start on a higher time frame to just find the specific movement, right? So like from this point to this point, we know we can see that this was a strong bearish movement, right? And so, okay, that means from that point to that point, there is going to be liquidity within this level, right? And now we can already see even on this time frame, there's definitely liquidity down here. But then it's like, okay, it doesn't really look like there's much liquidity at this area because the wicks aren't as substantial. But the point is, this was a level that prior to this candle that got respected. And at that level, just above it is where this trend started. And now at that same level, right, we basically have, equal levels to where we can now sweep that liquidity and use that as momentum to keep us going in the same direction that we were already going in, right? So this liquidity sweep isn't to push price bullish. This liquidity sweep is to give us more momentum to move bearish, right? This liquidity sweep would be for us to get price to move bullish, because price wants to do a few things. It wants to hunt liquidity, and it wants to hunt inefficiencies and price action, right? The third one I like to say is decision-making levels. Price wants to find decision-making levels, right? And so it wants to hunt liquidity, it wants to find inefficiencies, and it wants to hunt decision-making levels, right? And so what has it done this morning? It has already swept liquidity and it's filled inefficiency, right, of price action, right? And so now we're about 48. So we're what, an hour and 19 minutes removed from news, right? An hour and 19 minutes removed from news. We've swept liquidity. We filled the imbalance that news created. And now I'm like, okay, we're going to get our move now. If we're going to go bullish, we're going to do it now. If we're going to go bearish, we're going to do it now. All right. So I like what the dollar is showing me. That respect from that 15-minute area is what I wanted to see. And I'm getting that. We got it multiple times. So I love what the dollar's telling me right now. So let's go back to my USDJPY, and I'm going to go finish making my coffee. Let's look at FinViz. Look at FinViz. This was plus 0.48 this morning, plus 0.48 this morning on FinViz, right? Now it's significantly reduced, right? Significantly. So I'm just seeing that as a just a little bit more insight of how impactful this news folder has been and where our volume and our momentum will go from here as far as on USDJPY because I haven't had much come in just yet. Let me find a better. I don't want it to be live. I feel like if use, you know what? If I feel like if I use any, I know you guys can't hear the music. I'm sorry. Uh, anytime I use, anytime I'm on YouTube and I want to use one of these live ones, I always think I'm gonna get hacked if I use the live YouTube music. So I just always pick one that's actually not live. Like I always hear this song. All right, so let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens here. Be right back. Finish making this coffee, and then I'm gonna use the restroom. So let's just call it. Let's just take a quick 5 minute bathroom break here. 5 minute bathroom break. I'll be right back. I need to just go change a diaper really quick, and then we'll be right back. Like what I'm seeing here though from USDJPY, got that respect of that level there, which I wanted to see. Excuse me. Losing that volume on our MACD on the 5 minute though. That's all good. 15 minute on the dollar looks really nice. Let's see if we can get down to that daily level ideally. Check out gold. Gold a little staggered at that level there. I actually might be able to close out of my right back. All right. Back, back. Guess who's back? Back, back again. All right. As we're getting what we want to see from USDJPY. I actually closed out of one of my entries not too long ago, but it was just because I'd never entered two, never entered two entries. So the moment I was able to exit one of those entries to put me back in the position that I wanted to be in with, just having the one lot size in 0.03, rather than having 2.03 lot sizes at two totally different entry points, just because of that trade locker error on the news release. So I'm still in my current entry from earlier, um, on that news release. Looking to attack this first set of liquidity. But then after that, I want to see us come touch this part of liquidity down here. Um, so I got bearish CPI news. From what from my observation, the CPI news that was bearish was short term. Um, we'll say short term oriented, just because some of that data that was reported by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, a lot of their data, actually the year over year CPI data could be looked at as bullish, if I'm, just from my opinion, if I'm interpreting correctly. Anybody watching this, if they have a different interpretation, feel free to throw that in the comments or in the Discord or wherever you're able to let me know at. But pretty sure I got a good grip on it, just from the data we've looked at and did our research on. So let's check out the dollar. Dollar still moving bearish, respecting that 15-minute level, but showing strong bearish candles, right? Strong bearish movement and volume. So I like the way that looks on the dollar chart there. Let's see how price. This is kind of the one level I wanted to see how USDJPY reacted to. So let's see how it reacts to this level here. This is a 5-minute level that was generated right over here. If you see that decision-making level of how I find that candle of that pattern there. But we just see the respect. Like, yeah, it broke below, came back, then respected, came, touched it a few different times. One here, almost one here, wicked here, and now touching here. So um yeah, I like that. I like that. I want to see. Let's see how it reacts to this level right there. Bada bing, bada bang. Okay, mama. making it. Another 12 minutes left on this call here. Still in my USDJPY entry. Got in right on news. So there was CPI news came out bearish. Um, and so I sold right off on that CPI news when it came out bearish. Something that I like to play with those risks, to be honest with you. I like taking those risks. It's one of those things that it could go one of two ways on news. Um, now, just once again, as I develop as a trader, kind of what I was talking about, similar with gold, and just being able to, have the maturity to go to another to look at another pair, even though it may be a little less volatile, right? Right. And it's just a little bit. I was always attracted to gold because of the volatility, because of the amount of money that could be made, you know, in this market, within minutes, within a couple hours, right? And so, as I'm saying that, kind of a little bit earlier of me being a little more removed from, and just I won't say removed, just more understanding of the long game, right? And so I'm not dying over a pair to have the most volume and make $1,000 in a minute. Like I want sustainability, right? That's what I want. I want sustainability. So just thinking about my execution on news, and as I'm developing, it would have been really, really simple for me to be patient, right? To be patient. Um and then execute. Yeah, just because of course we could have executed up here and took in a sell, right? Based on my bearish sentiment on USDJPY. But at the same time, on that CPI news folder, right, we could have just went bearish and never came back. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of um that maturity in the decision making, that I would say that it was where I've grown. Just being able to make just whatever decision I make when it comes to my entry, just being okay with that decision, even if it goes my way, even if it doesn't right in that moment. Um, and so how I would probably have liked to play that and maybe played it a little bit different is adjusting my lot. I mean, the 0.03 wasn't terrible. But against that volatility, I would even like a 0.02, giving me about 0.02, 0.01 to 0.02 to still utilize if I wanted to scale in to another entry point. So, like I said, I'm not shy I'll trade CPI, but we still want to be, got to keep it always smart. Um, keep our risk at a manageable level. But yeah, I still like my bearish entry here on USDJPY. Oh. What's on my mind? 5 minutes showing the volume is losing. 15-minute maybe getting. Thirty 1 hour. If we get a break of this 5 minute decision making level, I like us moving, continuing bearish. Break this level right here. Finviz is just slowly gone down this morning. Started at plus 4.8, now sitting at a plus 0.7. Let me get Let me get your chair. I'll put you in your chair, precious. Let me get in your chair. All right, so let's see here. Being able to utilize these multiple time frames is highly important as well, especially when I'm in my positions. You can't just get tunnel vision on one time frame, even if it was just a specific level you're looking at. Like this is my 5 minute level, right? Which I could just watch it on my 5 minute, but um, I kind of want just a little more data and a little more information. Because I'm looking on my 5 minute, I see my volume. Okay, volume's weakening down here. All right, but then I go to my 1 minute. This five and this one will kind of work a lot together. But then I look at my 1 minute and I see, okay, my 5 minute says volume is weakening for sellers. My 1 minute it says buyers volume is weakening. And so it being near a decision making level, this is definitely an area where, especially on this 5 minute, we get enough volume and momentum, that volume will start to show itself again. And what I mean by that is this bar will just turn black instead of it being gray. And we can get additional insight on this 1 minute and seeing how this 1 minute performs, right? And just look at the last one, two, three, four, five, six, seven now 1 minute candles, right? They've been bearish, right? And even, this move, correction, this move, like from this point of this 1 minute decision making zone and below it, like we can agree that the sellers have dominated price. They've definitely controlled price. And within that, there are areas where volume decreases, right? Even on this move down, right? Move up, slight decrease in sellers' volume. Even on these two candles, we had buyers' volume present, but then sellers overstepped and overtook it. So utilizing the one and the five, I like utilizing those together. I really like using the 15 minute as really its own person. Maybe close, maybe as closer to the 30 minute, but if you look at the 15 and the 30, they just look super duper similar. So unless I'm looking for like a specific decision making level on the 30 minute or 15 minute, or if I'm looking for a specific level on the 30 minute, like there's something specifically I want to see on the 30, I'll go to the 30. But if not, I like the 15. I like the 15 minute, and then I'll go up to my higher time frames. But the moment we step into the hour time frame, we see that maybe supporting this bearish move here, and then thinking about the liquidity areas right by it, right? So there, definitely some liquidity areas that price can go take out relatively quickly here. Um, and this is my 1 minute chart that it's telling us this, or 1 hour, excuse me. Um, but that's how I'm identifying that potential movement there. All right, go back to this 1 minute. First time I'm taking a drink of my coffee, actually. Good thing about it is I heat up my creamer. I'm sure a lot of us do, but something I recently discovered. There it goes. Look at that. Still in my entry. I'm still in my entry. But this is the volume I'm looking for, right here. This is the move. But this is 1 minute. We can only see this on the 1 minute. On the 5 minute, it just looks different. But what did I say was going to happen on that 5 minute? Potentially, right? Potentially, if we move down towards this area and was able to move through this 5 minute decision making level, right? That volume was going to show itself again. But that 1 minute gave us that additional insight. Like I saw the potential of that happening once we started getting this. And then once we started getting this on our volume, right? I saw that potential happening. And so now that we're below that 5 minute, really, really teasing me and eyeing this liquidity point here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set my take profit right at about 146.5. Broke that structure, right? So now we're making a lower low, even though this is pretty much I want to attack this low, but as far as price closes, this is currently where we're viewing price right now, our lower low. We started all the way up here, made a lower low, right? Because we broke this structure over here. Let me redo that. Just understanding the trend, made a lower low because we broke structure over here, right? Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This teased us with taking out this lower high, right? But that could have just been a few things. I do see some inefficiencies in price action on that way down. So that could have been an imbalance fill. There is a few orders left there. So maybe, some sellers got stopped out at that level. Um, but ultimately left us here, right? In this structure, in this trend that we're looking at now. So now we're going to look to attack that. That's what I want us to go see attack. That happened on news. After we get that, I want us to go attack that, right? And then at this point, I think when we get down to about 146, let me actually check something. Because thinking about that news this morning, once we get down to about 142, I think that's when we'll start to turn around on USD Japanese yen. I think once we get down to about 142, we'll start to turn around on USD Japanese yen. Let's check where my entry is at right now. Shit. Nope, not yet. I am in a dollar drawdown right now, $1.60 and some change, about 7 pips. Um, and like I said it earlier on the call when Trade Locker had me in multiple positions, I was probably in like a $27 drawdown, um, which I'll take the blame for part of that drawdown because, like I said, I did not mean to enter two positions. But really this is me speaking on the Forex trading component and just the opportunity it offers. Like I was able to to watch my trade um, with proper leverage, with proper risk, and be in a significant drawdown without having to close that trade because of maybe, insufficient funds or um, maybe hitting a certain daily trade limit or anything like that. I didn't have to do that. Um, and what I'm able to do is right when it gets into profit, I'm able to close it out, which is what I did because of I did not mean to enter. Just want to keep reemphasizing that. It's not like I was just hitting buttons and then when I got into profit, I was like, okay, I'm good. No, it was just it moved back. So I got in somewhere at 146.87. So I literally got in right over here on news, right? We moved all the way against my trade, and I was able to, when it got right around here, I closed it out. But then the actual trade I'm in, the one I actually took, um, I must have got it when it was below here. So let's actually see where my entry point was at. Entry was at 146,622. So my entry came right over here, my entry point on Japanese yen. So that is what we are moving towards now. I have my take profit set at 146 to sweep this. I have it at 146. I will keep my eyes on how it reacts to this level and this level here, because this is what this is a 5 minute level. Yeah, so this is a 5 minute level as well. Yeah, so I want to see how it reacts to this 5 minute level. But my profit target right now is the 146 flat. My first profit target being 146.5, we can call it, but definitely looking to attack and this liquidity here. This news liquidity specifically, like this is a folder, not a folder, but this is liquidity that came out on news, right? This candle came out on news. So I'm identifying this as news liquidity, specifically giving it higher importance for it to get swept. Let's check the dollar really quick. Look at the dollar. Look at the dollar. Like this is exactly why we use this. Which I don't have it up. I haven't had it up as of late. But because I can just flip back and forth really quick. I'd rather do that. Um, Sometimes I like having them side by side. Other times I like having them separate. But just looking at the structure, man, just look at the dollar, look at the volume, even from let's just take this point, right? And this is why we use the dollar, right? So we can take this point, we can take that point. Everything that happened before it, I wasn't around for. I got on our live call about 5, right? So I already missed that part of the seller's move, right? Because not only did we have it on the dollar, but we had it here as well. So we went bearish there, right? And we went bearish there. And it's pretty much the same level, this at the same time, right? And then we get to this level, right? Where we get this large buying candle from news, right? We get on both sides, large buying candle from news, right? But then right after that, what happens? And so this brings me back to the maturity that that we will all come into as traders, and where my development is coming, and my understanding is growing in. Even though I like to take risks, I could have adjusted my lot size on this news entry and been, because I'm kind of playing it 50-50. Like I'm taking that entry knowing that news was bearish, and at this moment we could literally just take off in the bearish direction, but also knowing that I have to have ample risk or it could blow my account, right? So it's like that happy medium. So um if I would have even adjusted my risk a little bit more once we got up here, right? Not only did we get up here on USDJPY, we got up here on our dollar chart as well. So once we got there, I would have identified that because I was asking price to respect this 15-minute zone, 15-minute level, right? I would identify those two factors, and then I would have scaled in. I would have scaled into another sell, and then I would have actually been in two positions. But now I've orchestrated proper risk, right? Instead of doing the same lot size that I normally do,
I change it on my news entry because volatility is going to make up for the lack of lot size I have there, right? I keep myself safe on the risk management side of things if price does go in the opposite of my in the opposite direction of my position. And then once we get to a point where I feel like based on my analysis and based on my trading strategy allowing me to, I feel like we get to a point where I could sell off now. And so at that point, I could have scaled in. It would have been a smaller lot size than, my initial lot size from news, but we would be in profit. Um, and so that's just where my development is going. And the change that is required from us as new information is obtained, and just to be adaptable, we want to be able to be adaptable within this market because it requires that. Now there's certain aspects that we don't necessarily want to just keep adjusting, and I would say just our main execution points and our exit points. We want to have a solid foundation for those. Um, but as far as like things like, trading news and, how long you'll wait till you get in after news or before news or whatnot, that's stuff that with back testing and with experience that you'll just develop other ways to approach. So, a few minutes left on this call. I'll hang out for a few minutes more. Um, got to make the kids breakfast, take them to school. Got a haircut at 10, work at 12:30. Got to drop off my little girl at my mother's house. So busy morning for me this morning. But a blessed one indeed. So can't complain, cannot complain at all. So let's just take a look at, I'll provide my sentiment of, what I see going on for the rest of today with when it comes to price. And if we just take a look at DXY, I want to see DXY go touch this daily level. I think if we go touch this daily level, we'll get that same amount of volume on our USDJPY to come sweep this level of liquidity at 146. We may even get it to push it to 145 and some change. I will like to take it to 146, depending on how much volume comes in and the strength of that movement. Um, and the momentum within that movement, I may hold it further because this is my next point. So first take profit, I'll just put them on the screen here. So TP1 is going to be at 146.5. All right, TP2 is going to be at 146 flat. And TP number 3 that I'm identifying is going to be right at this decision-making level. But we'll do it right under that liquidity right there. So we'll call it 145.5. I like whole numbers. Those institutional numbers is what I'm getting at. There'll be clean numbers that we'll see price. It seems kind of weird, honestly, guys. But if we really just look at, you can use my chart, for example, and my decision-making levels I mark. The reason I mark them the way that I do, I've gone over it a few different times, but not only it is the candle structure, that three candle structure, but right at that level, normally when that candle structure is present, is an institutional number. Like, so this decision making zone is right on 147.92. That is where the high of this decision making zone is, yes. But literally zero point zero 0.08 points above where we're at is 147 or is 148 flat, right? So it's just those clean numbers that, banks and institutions look to market execute on, take profits on, stop orders, buy orders, stop limits, buy limits, that type of stuff. So this is TP3 sitting right at 145.5. So those are my TP areas, and depending on volume, depending on what I see for my dollar, right, will determine which TP I'm gonna be okay with. I know we'll be able to hit TP1. I mean, well, I don't know because we don't know anything that happens in the market, but based on my observation, you know, the my analysis is telling me that we could definitely take out TP1 and potentially TP2. If we take out TP2, I have strong reason to believe we'll take out TP3. Um, and so TP1's first, the first one I want to see us take out, and then depending on how aggressively it goes to TP2, I can determine if we'll be able to sweep three at all. There is a decision making zone lying right here within this bull flag here. This is just a trend. This bull flag is just me identifying a trend breakout. But within that area, right at what level? About 146 flat, right? We have a decision making zone a level, right? So right at a institutional number in 146 flat, right? We literally have decision making level, right? And so that's why I look for those three candles. It's not because I have some weird obsession with the three candles or because I am a Japanese candlestick guru. Um, it's not because of that. It's strictly because of that structure paired with me seeing them over and over and over again at institutional numbers paired with me seeing them over and over again news, appear on news entries. And so just the experience that I have specifically with this three candle structure, um, the variation either 2 to 1 black to white or 2 to 1 white to black, doesn't matter. But the smallest one, medium size, and then the biggest one, that structure is just so money for a lot of things that I use it for a lot, to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it. Take profit levels, um, no trade levels. Like there's a number of different um reasons why I use that decision making level. Um, so it's been referred to in the past as a DMZ decision making zone. We've changed that terminology just because I like the level terminology more. That perspective of a level rather than a zone. A zone sounds more focused to me. The level provides exactly what I want it to when we're talking about the price because rarely does it truly touch right at that zone, quote unquote. Right. It's normally hovering around the level of price there. So that's what I want to see from USDJPY. We got a really strong respect from this level up here where we got this double top. I normally don't talk retail chart patterns, but when they're obvious, they're obvious. Like this is a double top because it's two equal highs, right? Two completely equal highs right here. Now, what is at this level? Liquidity and the decision making level. Those two combined, I'm going to wait for a strong economic indicator to influence USD JPY to move bullish. And that's when that will be my target profit. 100% will be my target profit. So let's see what our news outlook is for tomorrow. Thursday, August, what is that? 15th, I think. Yep, August 15th. So let's see, August 15th, we got retail sales month to month, year to year. We got retail sales excluding automobiles, retail sales excluding auto and gas. But we see how heavy those will have an impact on the market. Something I really like about my FX book that I don't like about Forex Factory. Um, and just to show the comparison, not hating on Forex Factory, but just showing the difference. Like if we look at tomorrow and we're just looking at USD, right? It doesn't give us that. It just tells us core retail sales, unemployment claims, Empire State Manufacturing Tax, Philly Fed. It's just cleaner. I think that's the only reason why I originally was using this because I knew about my FX book before, but I was so used to Forex Factory. And once you get over here with my FX book, I mean, it is a little bit more intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. But once you're a little understanding of what you're actually looking at, it becomes less intimidating. And so if we're looking at tomorrow, 5:30 is pretty much when our news kicks off. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, retail sales, import and export prices, something we don't have really on here. Yes, we have import prices here, but it's also a yellow folder and there's no export, right? And so we get just a little more data to understand, the import export, it really could influence price tomorrow. And especially when we think about, that recent occurrence with the prime minister of Japan, right? And then we start to really, once we understand import and export, why the amount import we import matters, why the amount we're exporting matters, why the trade deficit matters, macroeconomical things that I am growing on. I'm not going to tell you I'm an expert. That's exactly why I have this notes here. I have it very accessible for me to go through. But give me a few months, I'll be able to come off the top of my head with some of these folders. But to me, it just we don't need to seem smart, guys. That I will never try to seem smart because I'm intelligent. I know I'm an intelligent individual. So I will make sure I'm checking my sources and doing stuff like that. We get no brownie points for being able to read stuff off the top of our brain. There's no brownie points and additional points for that. So I'm going to be noticing import and exports, continuing job claims. This is a a little more of a deeper dive to our unemployment claims folder from Forex Factory, right? We get continuing job claims, jobless claims on a 4 week average, initial jobless claims, right? So these are new claims. These are claims on a 4 week average, and these are continuing claims from August 3rd, right? So we'll see how those numbers add up. Empire State Manufacturing, right? And then what I would do, guys, if I were you, if there were some of these that I don't know how they'll actually impact the market, I'll literally copy and paste this, take it to my perplexity, right? Copy and paste, take it to my perplexity, paste, say, give me everything need to know being involved with the Forex market and how does trade, nope, how does United States manufacturing index affect the DXY and currencies like the yen? Literally, what I'll do, I'll start here. This is my foundation. This is what I start with to get into expanding my knowledge on the Empire State Manufacturing Index. And then what I do, like I said, I go to rewrite, pro search. I let it give me another search because it's going to do a little bit of a deeper dive. I'm going to let it do its thing. It's going to give me sources. I'm going to go through it and read it, and then anything I don't understand or I want more insight on because I think it's valuable or it's something I need to know, I will I will do another perplexity search on that. And I'll because it will have a conversation with you based on the most recent prompt, right? And so when I go through all these, which this is actually something I'm going to utilize. You guys will probably see this in the Discord channel, in the macroeconomics channel today. But what I'll do is I'll go through that. I'll see what's valuable, why I need certain information, how I can use it, and how I can identify it. And then boom. And then I understand once that data presents itself to us, how I can react from the market. So let's check on see what the yen's doing. USDJPY still just consolidating right below that 5 minute level, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with this here. Um, teased that take that liquidity right there. Teased it. Probably was about point zero 0.05 pips, or about that's probably a total of 5 pips away from sweeping that liquidity there. So I want to see it respect this 5 minute. If it doesn't respect the 5 minute, I want to see it respect this 1 minute decision making zone I have right there. If it doesn't respect either one of those, I will look to close this trade. I'll look to close this trade if it doesn't respect either one of those. Just because my entry was somewhere around 146,622. So my entry was somewhere around here, right? So I just want to protect my profits. I mean, protect my account at this point. I can always get back in. I can always trade tomorrow. I can always trade next week. Um, I was able to sustain my account and my through this market correction from news. And so, I don't need to get greedy and hold it through another correction if price decides to. That's something I have done in the past, and there's just no need. There's just no need to a certain extent. So, but that's pretty much all I got today. 758 and some change. Um, and I am gonna go ahead and sign off. I appreciate you guys hopping on with me this morning. Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Appreciate you hopping on this morning, Joe, Justin. Always a freaking pleasure. Uh, Joe, happy birthday. Did not know it was your birthday, Joe. Happy birthday. Shout out Joe Penny. Birthday in our community. Definitely sending you some well wishes on your birthday today, Joe. And I hope you have a good one. Other than that, we will see you guys